Okay, so we're going to do a flight here. We're on Pacific Coast Highway, and I forgot to look what street this is called. We are a little ways to the right is Neptune's Net by County Line, and then the shopping center is right by Zuma, Zuma Beach. Okay, so we're just going to do sort of a documentation of the parking lot and the mental illness tactics. To just prove a point here, and then we're gonna go to Malibu, and we're gonna sort of do some local areas around here. We'll probably do about 3 or 4 flights, but and it's already 3, so the sun's gonna set in a couple hours. Okay, so let's do this flight and just sort of document the fact that these mental illness tactics are everywhere. I always say worldwide, but but United States wide. Let's just okay. Pairs of twos backwards here, and then just some randomy things that we can't really document too well, right? We can't prove because it's too random. The human behavior. Okay, but we can the patterns, like the obvious pairs of twos. Okay, so right here, pairs of twos, right there. I'll just note 2 pickups, but probably nothing to that. And I'll note this guy by himself backwards, which you're going to say, well, he just parked backwards until the next guy shows up and says, I want to park backwards next to him, right? Because I want to do it like this everywhere for a reason. Okay, pairs of twos backwards here. Anita Perlman says you have a problem too, and worldwide groups are playing off that statement to, as Skylar would say, skull fuck me, sent after me by Jason Perlman on Internet Related Chat, IRC, in the late 90s. Okay, that everyone is working with. You know what you did to Skylar or Stephanie, right? Nothing, right? I was nice as can be, just like Aubrey Fisher, right? Okay, but Kevin, you harass women and you harass employees and customers, and but yet I haven't done anything but be brutally mobbed with worldwide groups to be killed since 5 years old. Okay, so now we have sort of, I'm going to note this red in case we see other reds. I'm going to note this pickup by himself backwards next to the second pickup. I'm going to note the guy at the end here, the CRV or whatever that is, backwards. I'll note the red Charger, and then let's sort of go into this shopping center, which there's a Starbucks. However, there's a Starbucks in every corner, right? Threes backwards together. And that being said, we don't want you at any coffee shop worldwide, so you better stay away from every coffee shop worldwide, or your, okay, pairs of two blacks sorted together here, or blues, or whatever they are. I'll just note the white Tesla. I thought I had a pair of 2 pickups backwards here. Maybe it was over here as I drove through. There were 2 pickups paired together backwards. I will note sort of the 3 whites forwards, and then right here, one of them left. There was a second pickup backwards, I believe next to this blue pickup. I'm not 100% sure. And then we have a second blue pickup backwards here, and then there's a car next to him backwards with him. So you can kind of see how they're pairing together. So 2 blues backwards together, 2 pickups, this blue pickup pointing towards this pickup, and then usually this is a lot worse. And then we have a Starbucks here, and then there's going to be a problem at every business and place I go. And then the police are going to cover it up and say Kevin's with them, and they're going to forge and fabricate calls with the police intentionally knowing what's going on, because this is a police and judicial operation with the psychology community. So I'm going to note this pickup backwards here, and then I'm going to say that this parking lot here is extremely conservative compared to what it usually is. But if I were to go get a coffee and sit down and relax, remember some of these death threats, no relaxing for you, nigger, then cars would see my car, or they would be notified on the internet, and they would start showing up with higher rates of provokings. But you're seeing right here that the provokings themselves are not because I'm here, but because I might leave my house. And this is worldwide, or let's just say United States, globally, federally United States, because someone is angry at their 5-year-old. And they're making up countless nonstop 50 years of defaming statements that instantly go out to the largest circles possible, even before the internet existed. Um, and that's how it got worldwide, because the Perlman family. Hey, Kelly Hatch, follow Kevin up from Calabasas High to Southern Oregon State College, and with the police, work with the police to blast lies all over the cities. And then 1994, the internet came around, and that's when Jason Perlman and my family said, well, now we have an edge. We can start using the internet to blast thousands of lies. Um, per year, probably. Okay, so this lady's going to a gray car backwards, and then she's by herself, so you can't define it as well, right? It's harder to prove. When you're looking at the two blue pickups here, it's easy, right? And then before that, we had a pickup. I don't know if he was next to this blue pickup over here, or I think there were two blue ones where this person's getting in that light, coming out of that light blue car right here. I think there were two pickups backwards right there about 15 minutes ago. And surprisingly, the parking lot is a lot closer, but there are some definable things, right? Even though there's a few. Example. Let's see where this red car parks. What does he choose? He has an option here. He could park in. He could park anywhere, but is he going to park by the red car? This is an interesting sort of um, uh, analysis, I guess I'd call it, or where is he gonna go? Because they like to use red cars, and theoretically, I could come back here in an hour, and this entire lot might be filled with red cars. Technically, there in this tiny lot there are a few reds, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And he did choose to not. Well, we don't know where he's going, but it looks like he's chosen to think for himself and not strategically park by the red car. He is parking backwards here, looks like, in the spot, but he's not. I thought he was gonna pull over here by this guy and park next to him, right? Okay. Um, and if I had like unlimited battery here, I could literally just sort of analyze, or an hour, I could be like, okay, who's coming in and where's he gonna park, and why is this guy doing that with that guy, and surprisingly, this area is more easier to read over this way at the moment. There is something that, did he just pull up, or? Okay, so once a battery's starting to get low, so let's do sort of a recap. Um, Pairs of twos backwards in this corner. Uh, some spread vehicles backwards here. Towards the edge, well, I don't know. There's a higher, never mind. This area, threes backwards here, and then twos backwards there. Three whites here, which may or may not be forwards, but probably is. Are two pickups here, one with a surfboard in the back, which is a little more obvious. Battery's starting to get low. And okay, so let's maybe start to. This is the guy that just arrived, and I'm surprised. Usually it's a lot worse. And once they see me drive through the lot, it sort of amplifies. Okay, getting my battery warning. Okay, so let's sort of head back. Okay, so sort of spread backwards. You can't really, you know, when you see this right here, these two, you go, okay. And then this area over here, we had a couple of group. Where was it? There, right there, this corner. Um, okay, battery is low. All right. Oh, be careful of that. Okay, so we're kind of by Zuma. We're still by Zuma. We're by a little shopping center. I don't. Once again, I don't know the street. I'm starting to lose light, so let's just fly here. This is a very small area. There's not a lot here, but that could actually be beneficial because when we check out the side roads and things like that over here, um, you're gonna say like if it's more rural and less congested, sometimes you can see easier. Um, so let's just see what we see. Um, and okay, rear white pickup backwards. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. Two whites together here forwards. I'll note this corner white backwards. White backwards by himself, so it's hard to read. Spread blue pickup backwards, kind of like the other lot down the street. Correct. In the corner here, there's a blue by the door. We're having a little transmission-y reception. Blue by the door backwards. This guy by himself backwards. So you know, there's not really. You get the idea, right? Okay, black car backwards by himself, and this parking lot is so small that Jeep backwards by himself. Blue car kind of by himself backwards, and okay. So now there's one little section here, and then at that point we're sort of gonna just, you know, look for side roads and. Okay, so pairs of twos, whites backwards here. So let's get a little more obvious. And on the other side, pairs of twos backwards as well. This guy's backwards, light blue. This blue car backwards by the door, kind of like over on the other side there. And this looks normal over here. And that's all there is, right? I don't think there's much of anything else. So let's sort of check the side roads. And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of wind, but I feel a lot of resistance. Two whites here. And if I don't say anything, I might just land because I want to head over to Malibu before the sun sets. And it's already getting pretty late. Yeah, there really isn't. So I think I'm going to... I don't know. Yeah, let's land. So that's it. Let's land. Um, and we're going to head to Malibu, and that'll be crowded. So... okay, so it's starting to get late here. Okay, so we're in Malibu. We're by the Malibu, I think, pier. Um, this area is interesting because this is where Brian Longbotham took me down around, I think, around 2002. He was my visual effects supervisor for Universal Studios, modern video film, with setup and frame jobs with people like Rick Caruso and City of Thousand Oaks and all sorts of elaborate, extreme, unheard of operations. He introduced me to Michael Bialis and Victoria Walker, the prostitute, with the defense attorney Rudy the Rubber Show, stalking and hunting me. Later on, her with Matt Von Malaki and my neighbors. Um, Linked to Alexis Amore and Rhodey Morales, taking me to strip clubs, trying to plant the LAPD marijuana in my house. The strip club thing, I'm supposedly obsessed and stalking strippers and porn stars. And what happened here was he was working with Tia Leone and Martin Sheen. And in 2002, photography was transitioning into digital. I bought a really cheap digital camera. Brian Longbotham said, let's come down here and go to Starbucks and play Paparazzi. He notified Tia Leone and Martin Sheen to come down. He said, take their pictures. Hey world, Kevin's a paparazzi. Kevin committed a crime. Hunt and kill Kevin Perlman. To stop me from getting into photography, however, in 1996, Jason Perlman's friend Mike Wexler threatened my life. Let's go on a road trip. You're not allowed to take pictures of people. Signing up to Professor Nick's photography class. Now, we all know taking pictures of people is not illegal, especially if you're public domain and an actor or actress. Therefore, they're just creating fictitious scenarios that nobody would care about anyways, to try to justify killing a 5-year-old Jewish child. Okay, so the first thing we see, they were already hunting me to kill me since 5 years old. They just want me to think that it's somehow my fault. So first of all, blue pickup. This is the third location down Pacific Coast Highway, and pairs of twos, white Tesla. By the way, it's going to take probably multiple batteries to do this area, so I sort of want to... Pairs of two reds. Now, their hinty message is like, you know what you did, you took a picture of an actor, and you're a paparazzi, or you're a schizophrenic who thinks he's a paparazzi, or changing arguments that don't make any sense, like usual, right? So that was because Brian Longbotham wanted to destroy the possibility with my family of getting into photography. Okay, two blues, one forward, one backwards. And pairs of twos backwards here. Now the Starbucks here, it's hard to... The time frame of Starbucks stalking operations with Brian Longbotham and Worldwide Groups was either Garrett 2004 in Topanga and Ventura, or this location here. Creating things that aren't crimes, taking things that are not crimes, and turning them into crimes, and even if they were crimes, they would be equivalent to jaywalking, right? Okay, nobody cares. You stepped on a snake hole. You yawned in public. We're hunting you to kill you with worldwide groups. So they don't make sense. Seymour Amster, you're brilliant. It's about mental illness. Well, it's about creating mental illness or the illusion to kill and get away with it. Pairs of twos backwards here, and that's what Charles Shondinsky is trying to cover up, that he's a cold-blooded child raping murderer. Pairs of twos backwards here. Two whites here. Two whites there. You know, some of these are and some aren't. By the way, if I was a different person, nobody would care. They'd be like, I don't have time. Hey, Brian Longbotham, I don't have time for your bullshit. Right? Okay, backwards but not definable. There's sort of a bunch of random backwards but not definable. Backwards. Blue in the corner. We see a lot of the blues in the corners, and we see a lot of blue pickups today on Pacific Coast Highway. Pairs of twos backwards. Whites here. Another white pickup next to another car backwards. So pairs of twos here. Pairs of twos there. Blue in the corner, backwards. That's interesting, right? Okay. Pairs of twos, blues together there, forwards. I'll just note this blue right here. This guy backwards, but he's by himself. So we're at Malibu Village. So that's the scam, to make the target think that he did something wrong while hunting him to kill him with worldwide groups. And of infinitesimal levels. Pairs of blacks, twos backwards there. Now remember, this is just the card tactic, not the verbal tactics. Okay, so if people see me, they'll start provoking verbally with the didn't see Jew kill squad. Fours backwards. Oh, these are charging areas. That doesn't count. Okay. Okay, so Marmalade here was where Brian was working on me with Martin Sheen. And let's see. Blue backwards here. A couple whites together. Some are, some aren't. We're looking for the obvious, the blatant obvious ones. We got a lot of backwards but undefinable, right? Pairs of twos right here backwards. And this all starts directed at Kevin Perlman. Based on whatever reason the psychology community and my family are trying to hunt me, execute me, eradicate me, and tell me it's my fault. There's a planet of child raping murderers hunting me to kill me over things that nobody cares about. Once again, photography and taking pictures of people is perfectly legal. They're just fabrications created around Kevin Perlman to brainwash him while worldwide groups try to kill me. And kind of pairs of twos with a space backwards here. And you knew that Brian Longbotham contacted Martin Sheen and Charlie Sheen because where was I working with Brian Longbotham? I was working at Universal Studios. Okay, so trying to figure out how to destroy my career and life like everyone else since 5 years old, like Brian Weaver in high school and the rest of them, right? Tom Hoke, Shane Weeks. Okay, so Damon Riggins, because I kissed a black girl. This is a little more randomy looking. Let's see. Pairs of twos backwards here. Two blacks backwards here. A large group, but two whites. Three cars backwards there. Two of them are whites. Two backwards there. Or first low battery warning. Okay, now this is funny. For some reason, this is funny to these worldwide groups. 3 whites forwards. And I'm supposed to think that I did something to deserve it. That's what they're trying to brainwash. Well, you know what you did. My father, you know what you did. Well, what did I do? Well, people aren't told what they did. So, my father, two backwards there together in the pairs, and then 2 more pairs backwards, and then so the sick father, sick family is running around trying to brainwash me into thinking that I did something that would launch a worldwide campaign to kill me. Pairs of 2s in the corner there backwards, and then the battery is starting to get low. Let's see if we can. Oh, this is gonna be tough. Get this area really fast. It's gonna be like super high speed. And I can see there's a lot of shit in this parking lot. So this whole area right here is backwards. Pairs of 2s, blacks backwards. These guys, pairs of 2s, they're backwards. That Corvette or whatever. And we gotta turn back. 2 pickups backwards here together, and we gotta head back. So